Hello, everybody. I'm Aaron Simmons, and this is Philosophy for Where We Find Ourselves, March 22nd, 2020. Today's Sunday, and just a few weeks ago, that would have meant we were in a weekend, we were enjoying time off, being with friends, going down to the taco shop, having a drink, whatever it might be. And you might be somebody who understands Sunday to be a time of worship, a time of celebration, a time of reverence. But either way, today seems just weird. People who normally go to church aren't at church. We're all at home. People who normally go to the pubs aren't at the pubs. We're all at home. People who normally go get the tacos, they're not having tacos unless they make them at home. So today on this weekend, this strange weekend that doesn't feel much like one, I thought I'd talk about a topic that seemed appropriate for a Sunday, and that's reverence. And I want to think about reverence as developed by the contemporary philosopher Paul Woodruff. Now, Woodruff understands reverence decidedly not in a religious sense, but in a human sense, in an existential sense. For Woodruff, reverence is simply the virtue that allows us appropriately to know how to express the feelings, or even to feel the feelings, of respect, shame, and awe. And he says that reverence, though often associated with religious life, better is understood as intrinsic to the human situation as such. Because reverence is that virtue that reminds us of our own limitations. It helps us understand that we, in fact, are not gods in any transcendent, majestic sense. And so we've got to remember that our own limitations, our own finitude, is what contributes to the glorious thing that we call life. So for Woodruff, leaders need to be reverent in order to develop compassion from their followers, rather than simply leading like tyrants out of power and bluster and narcissism. For Woodruff, people who are reverent recognize that the mundane rituals and ceremonies of human existence, even when they are boring and exhausting, are also the spaces where we cultivate community. This is where we recognize that there are things that matter that are bigger than us. And so today on a Sunday, let me invite you to recognize that reverence is something to be cultivated as a virtue in our lives in these strange times, because we've got to remember that only as community are we going to get through this. Only when we recognize our own limitations and don't think that somehow we can do this by ourselves are we able to move forward appropriately. Let us hope, let us pray that our leaders are reverent, that they remind themselves that they do not have it all figured out, and yet they lean on the experts who have better awareness than they might. In this collective exercise, this shared experiment, we can move forward, but only when reverence becomes more important to us than our own narrative of greatness. Reverence is when we humble ourselves appropriately and recognize that together we can be more, we can do more, and ultimately it is, as Paul Woodruff says, the way that we engage together around the shared needs of human weakness. I certainly feel weak right now. I feel helpless most days, and yet by thinking with you, by thinking well about questions that are bigger than all of us, may we all begin to cultivate reverence as a way of life. Thank you for watching. And again, as always, leave a comment if you've got suggestions for other topics or ideas. I look forward to doing this daily. It's given me a kind of reverential reminder that I'm not in this alone. We're in it together. I'll see you tomorrow unless a piano falls on our heads.